Hello and welcome back to this channel. If you're new here, hello, my name is Melon, and here I like to talk about books, specifically usually thriller and horror books, but from time to time I'll read a romance or a weird lit book or a poetry book. So it just really depends on the mood for the month. I guess you can call me a mood reader. Just whatever I want to read, I'll read it, but I usually gravitate towards the more darker, scary genres, if you catch my drift. But this month is an exciting month because I read 8 books, which is quite a lot of books. I don't usually read that many books, just for some reason I had extra time this month and I was able to read, especially with traveling to go see family for the holidays up in Ohio. It's a long drive, so of course I had to read some books, and that's why my number might seem a little bit high this month. But let's just go ahead and dive right into the books that I read. So the first book I read this month was The Boyfriend by Frieda McFadden, which was one of her latest releases in 2024. And basically the story is about a female main character who gets a boyfriend, and he's a little sketchy. And I'll leave it at that. And I rated this book a 4.5 because the twist at the end was not a twist I saw coming at all. The second book I read this month was The Eyes Are the Best Part, which is a book by Monica Kim where the main character, Jiwon, she basically is an Asian American and she's living in America. Everything's normal until she has a fascination with eyeballs all of a sudden. Her mom's boyfriend moves in with them and he has nice blue eyes, and she becomes fascinated to the point where she kind of wants to eat them, and then she starts just fantasizing about eyes all the time, which is creepy. This book was highly recommended, and a lot of people said it was their 5-star read for the year, and for me, I liked it. It was okay, but I wasn't completely convinced on why she really just had to have this fascination with eyes, and I don't know. I just didn't understand the fascination with the eye part and why specifically the boyfriend's eyes. There was certain instances where she thought he was a jerk, and he said some pretty sketchy things about her little sister, which I get, but it just didn't really translate in my head of why she would really need to go eat his eyes or want his eyes specifically, because I feel like, yeah, there's crappy people in this world and crappy men, but it wouldn't lead me to like want to eat their eyeballs. But you know, that's G1, that's her thing. But I ended up giving it a 3-star review. It was one of those books that I was excited about, but it wasn't really for me. The next book was another book I was super excited about, but was disappointed because I really like this author and the book fell flat for me. But it was the book So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison. I love Rachel Harrison's books, and So Thirsty was going to be her book about vampires, and I was super stoked about it. But it was literally just a book about 2 friends that turn into vampires, and they are just thirsty for blood. And that was it. So I gave it 2.5 stars. Nothing memorable, and I probably would never recommend that book to anyone. The next book I read was a book called Mayfly, which, again, this book, I saw it all over my Instagram, everywhere. Just the cover is really pretty and cool and intriguing. Just a second, my baby is crying. I'll be right back. Okay, she's very echoey. Hold on. There we go. I think that's a little bit better. Yeah, no echoes. That was strange. Anyway, my baby's better. Gave her a bottle. She's good. But yes, Mayfly. Mayfly is about a girl or a woman, and she works at Disneyland as a Disney princess, and they didn't outright say she was Elsa. I'm guessing there's some copyright issues, and maybe like you can't mention certain princess names if they're newer princesses. That was my thought, because they used the word Cinderella, but they didn't use Elsa. They said that she was the princess that had magical snow powers and was a loner by nature and had the blonde hair. And I'm like, okay, yeah, Elsa, but why can't you mention it? Weird. Anyway, so she's basically Elsa, and she plays as Elsa in the park. And she is cool. She's fine at the beginning, but then you learn that she's kind of psychotic and has this tendency to want to kill. and it gets very gory near the end, like very, like, it was a page turner near the end because I just couldn't believe my eyes with everything that was going on with Maeve, just how unhinged she got. But yeah, I gave that book a 3.5 star because CJ Lead is an incredible writer, and I'm definitely wanting to read her book American Rapture next. But at the same time, I did not expect it to be that gory, and I'm okay with a little bit of gore, but that was just a very, very intense for me. Was not expecting that. But it was written well. It's just maybe that amount of gore just wasn't my forte by any means. Next book I read was the book The Spite House, which is a smaller book about this family, and the dad is in need of money. He sees an ad in the paper where if he stays at a haunted house, he will get 6 figures for just staying there and reporting back on what goes on in the house. And he asks if it's okay that his 2 kids can come and stay too. The person that put the ad out said, yep, that's fine, everything's good, and they go and stay the night in this haunted house and start to report back, and things just get crazy and weird. I was really looking forward to this book because one of my favorite YouTube channels called Jordaline, she recommended the book and said it was her 5-star read. For me, it was a 2.75 star. I saw where it was going. It was a okay book, but there was just so many plot holes that left me a little confused. Every time I opened the book after a day or two, I was just confused on what was going on. Things would happen. I would know all the things that were going on, but then they would mention a new name or mention a new scenario, and I'm like, okay, I'm lost. I don't remember them mentioning this before. So it just really twisted me up, and I felt like I was doing mental gymnastics through the book. But I know that's not everyone's take on the book. A lot of people love the book. For me, it was just a little bit too confusing for me for some reason. The next book was actually a 1-star read, and is probably less than a 1-star read for me. I have a local used bookseller, and so I just picked up this random short poetry book called Split Image, and I think it was written in the year 2000, and you can definitely tell it was written in 2000. It's a story about a girl, and she has an identity crisis. She's in high school, and she basically does what everyone wants her to do, but she never follows her own wants and needs because her mother immigrated from Asia, and so there was a lot of just pressure put upon her to be the good daughter, to do everything well, to do everything right, but also to take care of her brother who is sick. And she felt this immense pressure from her family while her dad was away for business and never got to see him too much. Anyway, this book, I felt like, was very, very shallow in its approach to discussing suicide. And there were some quotes I couldn't believe were said in this book. And also, there were some racist remarks in this book. And you start to wonder, like, okay, obviously, like, high school talk, because it is a YA, which is also strange. Some of the topics that were discussed in this book that were not done well. But yeah, there was parts where some of the characters were very racist, and it was just weird because at a point you're like, okay, I get it, like, high schoolers talk, sometimes high schoolers can say racist things, but then you think, like, this is just a little bit overkill, don't you think? Like, this definitely seems like it was written 20 years ago, and it just left me feeling kind of icky. Yeah, would not recommend it. A very, very short read. It was all poetry and about the girl, but no, not for me. The next book was a book that was recommended by my friend Danae. So if you're watching, Danae, hello, hi. But she recommended the book Everyone Who Can Forgive Me Is Dead, and I gave it a 3.75 star rating, which is pretty high. I thought it was pretty good, honestly. It was about a girl, and in college something happened, and you don't know what the something is. It's alluded to throughout the book, but you don't know what exactly happened until the end because she can't remember what happened. All she knows is her friend is dead. Many people from her school and her department are dead. She was part of it, but she can't remember that night. And she thinks Did I do it? Did someone else do it? I think I did it, and she just can't remember. But I'll leave it at that. That was a good one. 3.75 stars. It was more of a thriller more than anything else. And the last book I read is The Girl in 6E, which is about a woman, and she has the urge to kill. She just really wants to kill people. So to combat this, she locks herself in her apartment and never comes out. She's just a cam girl and makes money that way and never leaves the apartment ever. Just gets DoorDash, gets everything shipped to her, does not want to leave the apartment because she knows she will kill someone if she leaves the apartment. But then in one of her cam girl sessions, she finds a guy that's actually really, really bad. And she's like, you know what? I want to kill him. Yeah. So this is also a very short read, and it was really honestly pretty good. I would give this one a 4-star rating, but if you are a young adult or a teenager or a juvenile, I would not recommend it because there are some very explicit scenes in the book, and it has a lot of sexual content. So definitely don't read it if you're younger or if you're someone that doesn't care to read erotic content. I didn't care too much about the erotic portion of it. I was more there for the horror aspect of it. But yeah, just keep that in mind before reading that book. But that is it. That is my wrap up of all of my reads this past month. I enjoyed reading this month, but honestly, at the same time, I was disappointed because I didn't read a 5-star read, and a lot of the books that I thought would be 5-star reads, like The Spite House, Mayfly, The Eyes Are the Best Part, I thought those were going to be automatic 5 stars, and they just weren't. It was disappointing, and I'm just looking forward to January and the other books that I'm going to be reading in the future, and I hope that I do run across a 5-star read because I'm itching to read one. Honestly, this last month almost put me in a slump, but I'm going to push forward because I know it was just a bad month, and I'm sure I'll find that 5-star read soon enough. But I'm going to head off here and go to sleep because it is nighttime and a winter storm is coming here in Tennessee, so we got to hunker down and bundle up. But I'm going to head off here, and I'll just see you all next time. Bye.